Tamashii is a non-profit project. Any and all profits are going to be going to Ehime Prefecture and select children's homes in Saitama and Tokyo Prefecture. Over the last 2 years, I flew to Japan twice to collect as much information on some of the most popular filming locations used in tokusatsu, asking myself and other Western fans why these special effects shows mean so much to us, and what some of us go through to share it with others around us. This is our Tamashii. It all comes in waves, folks, so let's take a look back at some of the waves that made tokusatsu a hit outside of Japan. It all starts with the Big G. When Godzilla hit, it was a major impact in Japan and also outside of it. It got translated over into English, and it made a huge impact on a bunch of Westerners. Not too long after that, we also got Ultraman, and Ultraman also got translated over into English. But something strange happened in Hawaii. Kiku TV got access to Himitsu Sentai Goranger, Toho's Rainbow Man, and Kamen Rider V3, but arguably Hawaii's biggest hero is Kikaida. Over in France and some other parts of Europe, like Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Greece, they got Uchu Keiji Gavan as Ixor. And they got Bioman, and Bioman 2, and Bioman 3. They just took a lot of 80s Sentai and changed it around. Over in South America, they got shows like Kamen Rider Black and Juice Beyond, which Brazil loves very much. They also love 80s Sentai as well. Now in America, we got Power Rangers. Everybody knows about them. But we also have Saban's Masked Rider, which that's a show, VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and oh wow. You know what? That's Gridman. That's Gridman. We're just gonna call him Gridman. In the early 2000s, we got Ultraman Tiga, and in the later 2000s, we got Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. But at the same time, we also started getting in more and more shows from Japan. These shows started getting fan subbed and translated. And at the same time, we all started sharing all these different shows that we got in our countries with each other. Regardless of what we got, we all seem to have a love and admiration for where the originals came from. And thanks to us getting more of these shows because of the internet, and more places getting access to the internet, we started learning more and sharing more. And more people started spreading around Kamen Rider, especially around 2005 till about 2010. That's when I feel like a lot more people started focusing on Rider, and ever since then, it started getting a huge following. But that doesn't mean we don't respect or enjoy the other shows that are out there and available to us too. Leaving the station, I was met with a whirligig, spinning against the wind, a sign I was on the right track. Locally known as Koedo, or Little Edo, Kawagoe is a historic Japanese city. As I headed north, the decade started to fly backwards with each progressing block. By the time I reached the first location, I had already passed the buildings and temples that looked older than anything I had seen in Tokyo. Near the Renkenji Temple is Old Tsurukawaza, better known to tokusatsu fans as the Narumi Detective Agency from Kamen Rider Double. Originally, it was a playhouse built in 1888 during the Meiji era. Some local experts have said it was a direct descendant of the Edo Playhouse in the same area. It featured a unique rotating platform and an extended catwalk that is common with kabuki theater. During the Taisho and Showa era, the building's exterior was renovated many times, and it was restructured into a movie theater. It was in rough shape. Parts of the roof fell in, and many more and more talks of removing it began to arise. Sadly, when I returned in 2019, Old Tsurukawaza was demolished. A location rich with history and a special interest to Japanese entertainment fans. Gone. I didn't understand why it was removed until much later. While losing an iconic location hurts, Kawagoe has many smaller locations from many Japanese TV shows. North of the Toki no Kane, or the Bell Tower of Time, and just south of the City Hall lies Taioken, better known as the Milk Dipper, to Kamen Rider Den-O fans. Taioken is a Saitama S-Class gourmet certified restaurant with a near 100-year history in Kawagoe. While the multi-course menu of food was outside of my budget, the atmosphere of the building's interior is advertised all over the town. Taioken is registered as a natural cultural property, as it is one of the first buildings in the area featuring a Western-style, modern architecture. While the interior of specific buildings often differ from what we see on TV, the private room of Taioken was recreated as a set for Kamen Rider Den-O. So if you love Den-O and decide to visit Taioken, dine in the private area. You might feel a slight sense of deja vu. This culturally dense city is a must-visit for anyone wishing to experience Japan. I'm sure the local government feels the same way. As we headed back to the station, I couldn't help but feel strange about the demolition of old Tsurukawaza. It's what brought me to Kawagoe initially, and without it, I may not have known about the Edo style the city still holds on to. The most ironically crushing information came to light in 2020. The historically rich building that brought a foreigner like me out to see Kawagoe was demolished and replaced with a hotel for tourists visiting the historically rich area. Learning about the building's history and fate is heartbreaking. A hard pill to swallow. A sad truth is, we had to go through less than legal means to watch a lot of these shows over the years. Which got me wondering, what makes us pirates? What makes you willing to go sail the seven seas just to watch your favorite kid show from Japan?
Well, I believe we are pirates because we were all given a virus by Aqua Red to join the Go-Kaijers.
Okay, Josh, we'll come back to you in a bit.
We are pirates in the same way that the golden age of piracy was, you know? Real life pirates. In the golden age of piracy, you know, when Blackbeard, when Black Bart, and those sorts of people were around, they were pirates because they didn't have a choice. They first started out as privateers. They got to raid other ships from other countries legally because their queen commanded them to. Their king or their queen commanded them to. But then the queen died. I think it was Queen Anne in England. And then she died and got another successor. And the successor, without even caring to see why, just outlawed privateering. And they made it illegal. And so a lot of people lost their job. And, you know, they're not ever going to be able to find another job. They're never going to find anything else that will put food on the table. And what do they have to do? They have to continue doing piracy to be able to survive, to be able to live. Therefore, they didn't have a choice. Blackbeard named his ship Queen Anne's Revenge because of this reason. They were not pirates because they loved to pillage and raid and they were villains and they just loved it because it was cool to swing the swords and have guns and drink rum. No, they were pirates because they didn't have choice. So how are we pirates? We are pirates because we don't have a choice. For the most part, because I think in the majority of the fandom, when something becomes officially available, like in a lot of recent years, which has been really awesome, the piracy stops. Kamen Rider Build, is that series legally available anywhere? I don't think so. In a streaming platform or something like that with official English subtitles, right? It's not available. It's not available, so what do we have to do? Go to certain websites, go to certain torrents, and download it with subtitles made by the fans. And we are not paying money to do this, not because we don't want to, not because we enjoy stealing, but because we don't have a choice. We love these shows and we want to go through the experience of watching these shows, of enjoying these shows, but we don't have any way of paying for them. A lot of people do give their money in the merchandise. I am not one of those people, but a lot of people do end up giving money to the companies involved because they end up purchasing a lot of the merchandise, right? But we are pirates because it's not the official way of doing it. I'm not even going to say the word legal. No, because this is different every country, right? It's not the official way of acquiring it, but it's the only way we have.
We're all pirates because a lot of the tokusatsu shows that we love so much don't have an official release on either DVD or on a streaming service or even on YouTube or something here in the West. So that does make us pirates in a way of we have to obtain copies of our shows in a, I would say, a legal gray area. I don't ever feel good about doing it, but I understand why we have to do it if we want to see the shows. I know it's a touchy topic, it really is. But that's how we're pirates. We don't have an official way to see a lot of our favorite shows, and so we have to go through alternative methods.
We aren't pirates. We are just doing what we can to enjoy the content that we haven't really been able to officially enjoy. I know that Toei put out the original Kamen Rider season and Kuga, and I think parts of Agito and Amazons, but like we haven't been able to officially enjoy most of the seasons, and those are just like tiny parts of the best. I mean, Ultraman, I know we have a lot of Ultraman, but we don't really have Super Sentai or anything like that. The closest we have is Power Rangers, which doesn't really, it's only like half of Power Rangers. We don't have any of the really old seasons. It sucks. Like I want to see more stuff official, like just so that it'll be easier. Like I would love to see it on Netflix or maybe Hulu or something like that. Like even Disney Plus, which is just funny to think about. But yeah, I just want to see it on like a streaming service or something, so I can just put it on my TV, watch it, have fun.
It's a shame. I understand where they're coming from. I don't think they see our market as big enough as they want it to be to send it over, but I hope that changes in the near future. I mean, we just don't have the access. We have to go about this way of looking for the videos online, having groups, use their spare time to translate within like a reasonable amount of time, which is insane. It's what we need to do if we want to keep current with tokusatsu, unfortunately, but I do think that's changing.
The next location is difficult to access with public transportation. It's usually recommended to take a taxi from the nearby station. While taxis in Japan are wonderful, they can get expensive for rides longer than 10 minutes. Luckily, my friend Eiji likes a good road trip. Located 137 kilometers away from Tokyo and 500 meters above its parking lot, the Gunma Astronomical Observatory rests in the mountains above Takeyama, Agatsuma District, Gunma. Surrounded by clouds rolling over the nearby peaks, Gunma Astronomical Observatory stands with its stone monuments, 3-domed structure, and enough observational equipment to conduct full-scale research on the cosmos. The observatory grounds have been used often over the years, from Kamen Rider Forze having some crazy fights with the Zodiarts, to Gokai Silver getting his powers from lost heroes. We even had a crazy big black hole event happen right here in this great observatory. To better aid the observatory, Takeyama implemented a light ordinance, making ideal conditions for the astronomers using the facility. Gunma Astronomical Observatory has a philosophy: provide every visitor with a real experience. While the observatory is loaded with all kinds of instruments, like their 150 centimeter reflector telescope or their solar telescope, it is also open for public use. For tourists to enthusiasts and professionals, Gunma Astronomical Observatory welcomes you to their facility. If you're a Sentai fan, you may recognize this area as the beginning of the end for Geki Ranger. Also, you can recognize it as the beginning and the ending from Ryu Soldier. The nearby stone circle was designed with Stonehenge in mind, and the ground leading to the observatory features replicas of the Antar Mantar. The Antar Mantar are unique equinoctial sundials originating from 18th century India. They are accurate up to a half second, and are used to compile data and predict the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. Walking the grounds was surreal, finding spots where major moments were filmed, from super dramatic reveals to more silly moments. I found that rush again, feeling like I had been there before. While touring the facility and learning about the structures and equipment, I found a case with signboards, signatures, and pictures from cast members from the productions that used the facilities. I took the last few moments to appreciate the view over Takayama before descending down the mountain. While the observatory was an exciting visit, the last spot I visited in Gunma left me feeling strange. Next time on Tamashii. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. If this is the first part you've seen, go back and check the first part. It came out a couple weeks ago. As for part 3, it should be releasing within 3 to 6 weeks. It may take a little bit longer because episode 3 is going to be a little bit beefier. And I have a very cool surprise for all of you who watch all the way to the end of episode 3. So again, thank you all so much. And I'll catch you next time for another exciting episode of Tamashii. Later.